Virginia, Mr. Griffith, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Romano, let's first clear up the OK sign. The OK sign is more predominantly just used to say OK, is it not, than it is for white supremacy?
Sometimes it is. Historically, yes, but
Historically,
sometimes it's used
even today,
as
a majority of the time, worldwide, it's not a white supremacist sign. Wouldn't that be true?
I don't know that I could speak to the majority of cases
All right.
now.
Let's
People
move on.
use it less.
I got so many things to ask. I've been concerned with this whole pipe bomb situation for some time, and I want to ask you some questions because as a prosecutor, I too, as Ms. Crockett just pointed out, was a criminal defense attorney. I too was a criminal defense attorney. And absent a confession, would you agree with me that with the evidence that we know that the pipe bombs were allegedly planted, by Mr. Cole on the night of January 5th, but we have the witness at the RNC who says they weren't there then, and we have the situation where the folks came through with the explosive sniffing dogs before the pipe bombs were supposed to be there, but before they were found and didn't hit on the pipe bombs. Wouldn't you agree that as a prosecutor, absent the confession by Mr. Cole, you'd have a hard time getting a conviction? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Maybe yes, maybe no. It depends on the rest of the evidence, which I understand includes evidence of financial transactions that he engaged in, license plate reader hits, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but intending to do something and actually succeeding in doing it are two different things. And if you've got dogs and people saying the bombs weren't there when they were supposed to have already been planted by him, and he's confessed to planting them the night before, I think I win that one. Now, we can disagree about that and talk about it later. Let me ask you some additional questions, if I might. Were you ever advised, as you were doing your investigations, of any FBI agents on January 6, 2021, being inside the Capitol and observing the January 6 rioters?
I'm not sure what you mean. I wasn't aware of, nor did I see any evidence of FBI agents within the crowd or planted there, if that's what you're getting.
All right, how about FBI paid informants?
I understand there were people who had been signed up as informants by the FBI who went there, not at the direction of their FBI handlers, but individually. There were a small handful of such individuals.
And did you interview those individuals?
No.
And did anybody in your office interview those individuals?
They may have. I'm not certain, as I said here today.
And you didn't call any of those individuals as witnesses in any of the cases?
I did not. I, again, couldn't say that it didn't happen in any case, but I did not.
All right. And did anyone, while you were the prosecutor and working on this, did anyone bring you information regarding Congressman Barry Loudermilk?
No.
Did anybody bring you any information of any wrongdoing ever done by Congressman Barry Loudermilk?
No, I certainly didn't receive any evidence of wrongdoing by the chairman.
And if there was a thorough investigation and it at one point mentioned that there might have been a problem, and then that final report didn't have any report saying that there was no problem, that might be an issue of contention, wouldn't you agree? Not that you agree with the premise, but that there could be an issue of contention there.
I think I'd have to know more about the circumstances.
All right, I appreciate that. That being said, let me go to Mr. Piotta. We've heard all kinds of allegations, but how do you explain that the Patel FBI was able to identify a pipe bomb suspect once they put their attention to it within about 6 weeks, but the Ray FBI failed to identify a single suspect or make one arrest in 4 years? And what does that tell you about the way the investigation was handled? And why did it take so long for the Ray folks to even look at doing a pipe bomb investigation? Can you give me some insight on that?
Certainly. What you saw with the incoming leadership team from Director Patel was a renewed focus, renewed energy, resourcing, and a new perspective on what they were looking for. Under the Ray FBI, this case was allowed to languish. It started to lose energy over time. There was a split of resources. There was a split of attention. And what happened,
Well, it looked like that happened within the first couple of months. Would that be standard at the FBI in the case of a pipe bomb being left outside the Republican National Committee headquarters and the Democrat National Committee headquarters? Does that make sense?
No, it's highly unusual, but they did have the larger events that happened on January 6th that they diverted attention, energy, resources to. So the headquarters senior leadership and the Washington Field senior leadership diverted their attention.
But wouldn't you have been concerned, because I certainly would be as a member of the Republican Party, for the Republicans and for my friends on the other side of the aisle at the Democrat headquarters, if somebody planted a bomb and they have no idea who it is, that there might be a repeat offense, and that we really ought to dig into that because both Republican lawmakers and Democrat lawmakers were at risk.
Absolutely, it was a public safety issue. And they failed to do that, and it was a lack of focus.
I think it was more than a lack of focus. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman yields. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr.